How was
That
that?
was quick.
Nobody's there, but hello.
Hang on, I'm sharing it.
Yeah, I'm sharing as well. And I think we need a slightly longer one. Slightly longer. Thank you. Yes. We got one. We have got one. Jesus, we got one there. Right. So yeah, we're right now we are, and I'm looking at all the green ticks across the board there. We're all over YouTube and everything now. Awesome job.
Yay!
So there we go. This is our first one on the Simply Spooky Network and all over YouTube and everything else. So thank you very much. And I got to say a big thank you to Viv for asking us if we'd like to be part of the network. And yeah, thank you, Viv. It means a lot.
No, thank you for saying yes. That's more important.
Well, we've been going for, Christ, Wayne and I have been doing it for, I think, nearly 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. And
yeah, it's about that now, yeah.
How do you join? You didn't get a notification and it's not on the Dark Mirror. It should be. I've broadcast it on the Dark Mirror. I'm looking at it now. It is. Yeah, it is. It's on there now. Hang on a second.
Yep, it's
Go
live
on the
now
Dark
in the
Mirror
Dark
wall.
Mirror
It's
radio
on there
show.
now. I've got it on my phone. It's on there now. There's
Yep.
Rachel looking for it. She's like, oh my God, where is it? So yeah. Right. But yeah, and the Dark Mirror show itself's been going about 10, 12 years, but this is the best version of it, I think.
The best incarnation.
Best incarnation, yeah, because when we had a script, it was all right, but I'd always end up making Kerry Greenaway corpse, which was hilarious. It's no notifications. I have no idea how you set notifications to go out to everybody.
You got to press the little bell
On where?
on YouTube. Subscribe and then press the little bell.
All right. Okay, I should sort that out later. And apparently, because we've had this before, it hasn't been putting out the notifications on the Facebook, has it?
No, I think you have to physically go in there and press something in there, and yet on the main page. I don't know.
Let's have
Yeah, because I've shared the feed to my profile and it's come up straight away. So
I'm just having a look. There's the show. So how do I guess sneeze?
Bless you.
Excuse me. Just bear with us. We're trying to iron out all the different things. Near, save video, turn off, turn on. No, there's all the commenting and all the notifications should have gone out. I have no idea why that's not worked then.
I think the individual has to do it, don't they? I think.
Yeah. I think Rachel and everybody else who want notifications for the show, you have to actually go onto the show's wall, and then I think you've got to click notifications. I've just looked on it, and it's handing out notifications. I'll send everybody an invite to the show again, and I'll do that afterwards. I'll send you all an invite to the Dark Mirror radio show's wall, and then you just like it, and then you should automatically get a notification for it. So. But yeah, thank you, Viv, for allowing us to come on here. And are you really sure about it? It's a good job you know me, isn't it? It's a good job you know Wayne too.
No worries. And thank you for saying yes. We welcome aboard to the madhouse. That's all I can say.
It's very much appreciated. There's Nicola and there's Rachel. Hello! And a few others. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we've got quite a few watching us, actually. So yeah. Good.
in reply to Eric, that was one of my daughters decided to play up.
Oh, what the blah, 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 in the background? I'm just trying to see. Yeah. I can't see anything, but yeah. Oh dear. Anyway, let's just. What was I going to say? UFOs, yes. Submersibles, oh bad. That's all I can say. Do you reckon they're going to get to them in time?
It's imploded.
Oh, it hasn't, has it?
I think that sub, when you think about how far down.
2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pressure of that, and apparently it's only a tiny little machine. I think, I think they didn't know that.
You reckon it's just?
Yeah.
I think there is only 2 hours of oxygen left.
Yeah,
on
9
that sub.
a.m.
I
tomorrow
think,
morning.
yeah. So and the problem is by the time they get to it to bring it back up, they'll be long gone. The seal is put in from the outside. They can't
That's
undo it
right.
from the inside.
It's got to be towed
And
up.
there's 17 hard bolts that have got to be unscrewed
You said
from the
hard
outside.
again, you did.
So there's no way they're coming out of that alive. So unless they've disappeared somewhere else.
Well, I hope they find them. Although I'm laughing, it's nothing to do with that. I can't tell you what it's to do with, but I'm laughing. Yeah, I hope they do get them out in time. But as you say, and as they've said in the comments there, all they can do is there's no way of getting them out. All they can do is literally tow them back up, and that's it. Because as Wayne just said, it's all bolted on the outside, and it's done on the outside because if the bolts are on the inside, the pressure would make the door implode. So it has to be done on the outside.
Yeah. They have said they have heard banging.
They can hear banging. They're making most of their last few minutes.
Yeah. Mainly men, though, weren't they?
Yeah, they have heard banging sounds come through on sonar through the water. So they're obviously trying their best to sort of like communicate with the outside world, but without an exact location and without the right sort of equipment to get down to them.
Yeah,
there's no way it can get there in time. If you were to send a ship out with recovery equipment now, it'd be a week before they'd get to them. Too late. But apparently there was an article released today that a member of staff had actually come forward and said that there were serious issues with that sub. And he did flag it up, but there was problems with it.
I hope they do get to him because bless him. I don't care who it is or what. No one deserves to go like that. I mean, shit. I mean, somebody was there with his son, and not good at all. So yeah, you'll have to excuse me laughing. I keep getting sent jokes, and that's because somebody's trying to make me laugh whilst I'm doing the show. I'm like, stop it! But yeah,
that's normally what my mum does to me.
It's quite a laugh. She's sending me jokes and stuff. She's trying to get me to laugh. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, all that. I hope they find him, and I hope I hope they don't. If they don't, I hope it's quick. It's not going to be, I know, but let's hope it's quick.
Well, the problem is for them, it'll be suffocation, won't it? So they'll sort of all just go to sleep and pass away just like that.
Yeah. Well, let's change the subject anyway. Las Vegas. What's everyone's take on it?
Faked.
I like the new videos that are popping
Faked.
up.
Yes. I think it's done very cleverly to create mass hysteria for a reason.
Project Bluebeam. Josh said about Project Bluebeam as well. What were you going to say, Wayne?
Well, I mean, the problem is like we said last week, they've got a lot to lose. They haven't really got that much to gain. When you think about it. Because they've got their own business, haven't they? They're mechanics or something, so they've got their own business.
I don't think the family are in on it. I personally, I don't think the family are in on it because I've seen the translation of them on the video that what they're actually saying to each other, and I don't think they're in on it. But the face that's been seen and superimposed, I've seen that face from something before.
Yeah,
I can't remember where I've seen it, but that face is from something else.
I think that other people have jumped on it because there's so many videos out there on TikTok now, especially where people have gone, "This is what they saw," and all you've got is their word for it. Because a lot of the pictures from the video footage was very grainy; you couldn't make anything out.
Yeah.
They'd say, "Oh, there was an object between this guy and that guy," and when you enlarge it, you freeze frame and enlarge it, you couldn't make out whether it had eyes or not. It was just a blob standing there.
Yeah.
There could have been anything.
And the 10-foot tall one. Yeah.
So where are these other people getting these really good pictures of this 8-foot, 9-foot tall grey alien? Because
I saw the fingers.
none of the video footage that they've shown has been of the same quality.
No, I saw the fingers in the fence, and then they tried to show the face peeping through, and you got to have cat's eyes to make out what the fuck that was. And then the thing that was on the back of the where the pickup truck was, the thing that was there. You know, again, you've got to have awesome flipping eyes to see that. You really have.
Yeah. So, but the problem is they've got too much to lose by faking it. However, there is a chance that maybe someone decided to play a prank on them.
No, I don't think it was a prank at all.
But then you've got the police videos of the blue light coming out the sky and landing.
Yeah, there's lots of Ring doorbell ones of that as well.
And the video call, the call to 911.
Yeah, and the video doorbells from all the different houses that saw it coming.
So I think there is something to it, but I think other people have jumped on it and started adding their own things to it to sort of enhance it and try and make it more than it actually is. I don't think it's as high profile as everybody's made out to be. I think the majority of people just added to it sensationalism.
Do you remember us saying in a show that we did about 2 months ago, and we said about 4 weeks ago actually, we said about the whistleblowers coming forward, and we stated on the show, once these whistleblowers have come forward, you're going to start seeing all this shit, and then all of a sudden you're going to start seeing the start of Project Bluebeam, etc., etc. There you go. I said etc., etc. And Rachel goes, "Oh, you say etc., etc. Don't know anybody else who says that." So, is it the start of Project Bluebeam? Because these whistleblowers have basically put all the Bobbermans of the world in the position where they're now going, "Fuck, we can no longer hide this," and that's why they're starting all this crap, because they're gonna eventually go, well, guess what? We've been talking to someone who can come in and help us with this. Would you like us to do that? And then we'll introduce you to these very nice guys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Project Bluebeam's been going on for ages. I don't think this is the start of Project Bluebeam. I think this is just part of it. I think Project Bluebeam's been going on for ages. It's a gradual process.
I do think that the Bobbermans now, they're in a position now that you can't do it. It's got to be moved on, hurried up. They can't hide it anymore. Viv, what do you think? Woman on the spot.
I'm not Viv. You looked to the wrong corner. It's that
way. I've got it mirrored on my laptop. I'm looking at Viv.
Hi, Viv.
Hello.
I'm Wayne Spigonori. Sorry. Do you realise?
Anyway,
well, I think that poor old Wayne has got Big Boy Seaton still up there. Did you forget?
I think that needs to be changed.
Carry on. I'll put that up. Carry on.
I think the government, the Bobbermans, are playing a very dangerous game with the people, and it is all going to come out. And something massive is going to happen with the normal folk that's been watching all of this play out, and something else. What I can't tell you, I don't know, because them putting these decoys, if that was a good word to use, these decoys in place to try and control the people. They're watching. They are watching. They know what's going on, and there's going to come a point when I say, right, enough's enough. Let's get down there and sort this shit out. That's what's going to happen, and it's going to be carnage.
Yeah. I reckon that there's stuff in the woodwork and in the pipeline, and I do definitely reckon that it's got to the point that I do reckon it's got to the point now where hello. Will you let me talk? It's got to the point. It's got to the point now where they just, I genuinely think they can no longer hide it. You've had too many high-ranking, high-profile whistleblowers come out. I mean, that's David Grush?
Yeah.
David Grush. And he was talking about a UFO retrieval in Italy. It took place in 1933. And he had facts, figures, all this stuff. And then other people are saying, is he going to come out, is disclosure going to bring out the Holoman UFO in the 1970s, etc., etc. I said it again. But more and more stuff. That video I sent you, Wayne, did you see the US Marine? The one I sent you about the US Marine talking about the Philippines.
Yeah.
Hey, Taylor, thank you, darling. Taylor May, my daughter, is in chat as well. And so is Rachel, my other half.
Rachel.
So, yeah. This Marine came out with a thing that happened. It was the 90s, wasn't it? Mid-90s in the Philippines. Yeah. And a unit of the US Marines were sent in to do humanitarian stuff. And they came across basically 300-foot UFO in the middle of a clearing, hovering, making a noise like a PA speaker that's got the jack plugged in, you know, when it goes, like that. And there was these guys in black camo, black baseball caps, no insignia. Hi. And they stopped. And they stopped them, and they were like, well, "What's on the pickup trucks?" And they had these cages, and they were like, "There's people on board." And this ship basically took the cages up and buggered off with them. And then these guys, in front of the Marine.
It wasn't just that, though, was it? It was the equipment that the people
they had
there already. The equipment was a lot more advanced to what they already had, and they were supposed to be special forces. They were supposed to have the latest equipment, and yet the guys that were there when they turned up had better equipment than what they had.
They had ACOGs, and this is the mid-90s, you know? Very...
Yeah, so it's got to be... That was got to be pretty sort of... we'll put it clandestine, you know? It's Black Ops, sort of higher than Black Ops sort of stuff. So the other team must have been there to try and get it all covered up and out of the way quickly before anybody else could get there.
I think everything's coming out now, and I think it's got to the point where that's it. They can't hide it. They can't keep mucking around. There's no more hiding. Somebody's got to come out and do something and say, because how are the government going to turn around and say, actually, Mark, was that Jack Daniels? Probably, mate. They're going to turn around and say, you know, you guys have known about it for years. You've lied to us for years. We're never going to trust you again. And, Viv's drink. No, I don't think that's Jack Daniels. This definitely is not Jack Daniels, you daft bugger. Look, it's apple juice.
I can't show you the logo, but it's not Jack Daniels.
No, this isn't Jack Daniels. This is cloudy apple juice with elderflower, because he likes the cloudy apple, though he does.
That's all I'm going to show you.
There's a good question. Are Men in Black real or just to cover things up? I think they're real. There's been some compelling... We've done previous shows all about the Men in Black, and there's been some very interesting stuff, especially the identical twins with no eyebrows, no hair, no facial hair, nothing, and they were identical. The railway station. Remember? Do you know what, Wayne? You bloody wait till I see you.
I'm only answering a comment. If you look at the comments, it says, Facebook user says, hello, I'm just replying. Rather than stopping your conversation, I put my little hi up.
Anyway, when you join in with this conversation, whichever bloody side you're on.
I think the Men in Black are what was Project Blue Book.
Yeah, because they definitely started there.
Yeah. Which has now become ACAP.
Hi, Carl.
And I definitely think, although they said Project Blue Book has finished, they may have finished as Project Blue Book.
All it did was change its name.
They changed its name. They then obviously they put that deceit into people to make them believe that Project Blue Book finished. So everybody thought, oh yeah, we're all right, that'll be fine. And then they've just carried on doing what they've been doing, and everybody else has been oblivious to it. Now it's starting to catch up with them again, and the same thing is happening all over again. And I reckon that is what the MIBs are, is the original Operation Blue Book, Project Blue Book.
What do you reckon to the ones that we saw, you know, with the video footage, the ones in the hotel and the ones at that railway station? Because I think they were the same people, but they genuinely scared the living crap out of the people that work there.
Well, when you think about it, it would be no different to the likes of organisations like the FBI and CIA. I mean, you know, if a group of people turn up at your hotel with the idea of investigating what's going on there, that scares the shit out of anybody. You know,
There was descriptions of them though.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously have these sort of balded, pale-faced people turn up, and they're both wearing the same suits, or they turn up in this black car, and all the other sort of things that, you know, aren't right, and that just sort of adds to it, doesn't it? And it's a case of, well, you know, why would they look like that?
What's the whole ethos of it? Whole ethos of it as well, because they were saying in some cases that when they spoke, wasn't it? They both spoke at exactly the same time and were saying the same thing, and it was almost like they were. They described them as either some sort of weird ass clone or aliens, you know, but with a suit and a hat on. Well,
you look at the film Men in Black. The whole organisation was a few human beings, but also a load of aliens that would then have to be disguised to go out in the public. So maybe that these two guys that look very similar to each other, with the pale skin and the dark eyes and the suits and everything else, could they have actually been the so-called aliens that are working with the governments?
I don't see
why they look so similar.
I just wish they would come out in the open and say, yeah, okay, but this is all going on. I mean, everything that we've seen, everything that we've spoken about, especially you and I over the last 5 years, we've always said it's ramping up and ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And it is going to get to the point it's going to go boom. And all of us who do this stuff, and like I've been saying for years, it's going to happen. We're all going to be sat there. Well, just one day, something's going to come across on the TV, the radio, your phone, notifications. They're all going to go mad, and we're going to go, fucking told you! Yes!
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, that's the thing. And would it be a case of, would it be the government finally surrender to people power and go, right, okay, we'll admit it? Or is it going to take those extraterrestrials to actually finally turn up in public where everybody can see them and go, we've been here for donkey's years? It's just that your governments didn't want you knowing about us. See, that's the question you have to ask, ultimately. Are they going to just pop up and go to our governments who can't be trusted, are only in it for themselves, and go, we'd like to speak to the people of the world? Would the government then trust those beings to do that? The answer is no, they wouldn't. So their only course of action would be to do it all in public, to make sure that as many people see their arrival all at once.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to turn heads, is if they do something like that. Like in a lot of the films, like with Independence Day, the series, you know, they turn up in these massive megalithic ships that nobody could deny.
Yeah.
And go, hello, we're here.
I think that's what it
means. Governments couldn't do anything about that. They'd be powerless to stop it.
Right, Ted.
I
personally think, because I've been looking at this and looking into it, and it is every week we've said everything's on the rise, and when Viagra, everything's on the rise. All the sightings are getting madder and madder and madder and madder and clearer and clearer and clearer. Then we had all this bullshit from Las Vegas, like Is it real? Isn't it real? Does she use Maybelline? We don't know. You know, I think it is. I think we're going to start seeing more of these aliens at my door videos, and I think it's going to gradually come out more and more and more and more and more, and then I don't know if they're going to try and induce mass panic and say we will save you, because I can see them doing that.
Yeah,
but they'll be working with them and going, or if we do this with them, we can say, well, we'll do this, that'll make us look good, we can introduce you. But personally, if I was the guys from outer space, I'd be saying, no, you're going to make us look like dicks, mate. We would just appear in a big, huge ship so everybody can see us.
See, the thing is as well, though, the more I'm thinking, the more we're talking about this, right, the more I'm wondering, there we go, this is for you, Cliff. Hi.
No bad.
You know, we just mentioned the likes of Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
Now, could this be what the extra footage that we're seeing about the so-called Las Vegas incident?
Yeah.
Could this be the modern version of Project Blue Book? Start putting out false videos in amongst the real videos to try and bring that disinformation to people, to try and poo-poo the idea that they were visited.
No, that's a good...
You know, they would have, obviously, an organisation would have to modernise. So, likes of all these adverts that you see, join up with fighting against cybercrime, do this course in this, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So, Project Blue Book, in its guise that it is now, would have to have specialists that could work on social media. And those people would then be responsible for composing these videos and infiltrating the social media networks to put those clips on there to fool people into thinking that this is either real or it wasn't real, depending on which way the powers that be would want that pushed.
Well, they've got a thing, haven't they? They've got a whole network, global network of people that spread disinformation. It's part of the PSYOPs core, isn't it? And it's not just it's not just the US. We've got it, and most of the G10 places have got it. Most of NATO have got it, and they have mass psyops things that put out disinformation about certain things.
And the chances are that the new modern version of Project Blue Book are going to be utilising that exact system to put that disinformation out there. If you flood a video with an original video with extra stuff that just makes it look so comical, you're going to get more and more people disbelieve it than believe it. When it first came out, it was the police camera footage and the 911 call. And it was literally sounded like someone was terrified that something had just landed in their back garden. Then all of a sudden the police videos came out. This blue orb came out of the sky and literally slowed down as it got closer to the ground until it disappeared behind the trees and the houses. Then all of a sudden you got the police turning up at the house, the police asking other people what they'd seen, and then mysteriously enough, going into the back garden of the property, the video camera cuts. And they said because of privacy laws. And from then onwards, you just got this sudden flood of other videos, the Ring cameras, some bloke going, oh, look what I've got on this picture, blah, blah, blah. So it could have been from that point onwards, from when they went into the back garden onwards, could have been where the Project Blue Book guys have come in and started adding their bits to it to try and make it so far-fetched that everybody just laugh it out.
I think a lot of stuff. I agree with that. I think a lot of stuff. What about you guys in the chat room? This is like the alien autopsy video, real or fake? Well, the alien autopsy video that was proved to be fake, wasn't it? But it was very good, very good. Fake.
Was very good.
Yeah. And it's like Apollo 19, is it? Is that the one with the UFO on the moon?
Yeah.
The 19 one. Again, you've got. I can remember when it came out and everybody was saying it's real, and then you had the disinformation ones came out saying, "Oh no, it was this and it was that," and I know the producer who made it, and this, that, and the other, and then it's all of a sudden that person's disappeared, and nobody knows who the producer is, and it's like, and I've seen more videos on those. In fact, funny enough, yesterday on the Apollo 19 one, where you had one of them was, who was it talking on it? It was some really high up, like Luis Elizondo. I think Lou Elizondo is the face of the. I hate to say it, but he's the face of the Project Blue Book guys. Project Blue being Project Blue Book. I think I get that feeling. But yeah, there was somebody talking on about the Apollo 19 thing, and it was a high up person in the US forces, and he was saying, yeah, it's all real. You know, it was all real. We sent people out there. I've spoken to such and such astronauts and this, that, and the other, and they've all confirmed it was real, but they were all threatened with their lives that if they ever spoke about it, it'd be them and their families that were taken out. And that's the same thing with Buzz Aldrin and everybody else who saw the aliens, Tourette's, who saw the aliens, who said the same thing when they came back, because you know when they were being quizzed in their first interview since they came back, they were just like, it's all right, it's okay, you know. And you know damn well, if you and I'd been up there, we'd have been like, oh my God, guys, you're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
But they were threatened, weren't they?
I mean, you get the likes of, was it Neil Armstrong's boots? And they'd be like, oh, look at the sole in Neil Armstrong's boots. He did go to the moon. The only problem was the boots that they showed in that exhibition were actually the training boots they used on Earth, not the training boots that they actually wore on the moon.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that side of things, that's where you get the disinformation being mixed in with the real information, which then causes the conspiracy theories of whether they did go to the moon, whether it was all set up on purpose in a giant warehouse. And then you get all the other bits come in about the camera footage. If you look at these lines and, you know, the lines in the camera are on the wrong side. They're behind the astronaut, not in front of it. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. We've now got the technology where we can just very simply airbrush that line out from in front of him and put it behind him to make it look fake.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of it out there that's making it capable of to be done. And, you know, you will get stuff out there that could be 100% accurate and true. But then you'll get God knows how many videos there are done of the crap ones that poo-poo it straight away.
You're right, because remember when they everybody was starting to get to the crux of the moon landing being faked, and then they were saying, no, it wasn't fake, and then that fame, who was the director? It was Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And back then there was that video of him coming out saying, yeah, all right, I did it. It was this, it was that. And then immediately as that video came out, other people went, nah, this was fake. This was a fake video. That's not Stanley Kubrick. It was this and it was that. And every time you get a bit of stuff come out, you'll get another one saying, no, yes, no, yes, no. And that's the same with the Las Vegas one. And I think it doesn't matter what you do. I think I genuinely think, and this isn't an ego thing or anything like that, I do think it wasn't for the likes of us, and I mean all of like us guys in the whole of the paranormal field, ufology, cryptozoology, all that sort of stuff. If it wasn't for the likes of us who aren't head cases and wear tinfoil hats, or who sell out to the Bobberman and spread disinformation like certain people on YouTube have done, people I used to follow, I got so disheartened when I realized that that's what was going on. Yeah, if it wasn't for the likes of us coming out there saying, well, this, and this, what do you guys think? And then we talk to you guys in the chat room and let you put your view across, because why not? I mean, you guys are just as much entitled to a viewpoint as we are. We just voice your viewpoint. So I think they're real. I think they're here. They've been here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. You look back at the ancient Egyptians, look at the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the epics of Gilgamesh and everything like that, and then you look at them talking about the Anunnaki. I think they hit the nail on the head, and I think we were here before. I think there was precursors to us, and I think people from other planets have been visiting here regularly, all down throughout the ages, throughout our previous version of ourselves, as in our precursors, and that's what the gods are.
Oddly enough, we were saying about whether we landed on the moon or not. And lately, TikTok video has gone out about the rover on Mars, which I did find quite amusing, because on the rover, when the rover takes a photo of the landscape, there's a fly sitting on the rover.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It appears to be a fly sitting on one of the panels of the rover. And it's a bit pixelated because obviously they've zoomed in on the picture, and because of the camera quality and the deterioration of the media file in transportation from Mars to here, you know, the picture degrades a little bit. So they've zoomed it in, and you just see this little fly. And you can see what appears to be the body and the wings, and you can see the one side of the legs actually on top of the rover. And that picture then just sort of starts to fuel to the fire of, well, did they actually land a rover on Mars? And then the other day, Aitken come out with a classic. And it didn't take me long to think of this, but the more I think of it, the more confused I'm getting about why they've done what they've done. We know that water is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. Right. Supposed to be the source of life, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Why haven't they put rovers and probes at the polar ice caps? Why have they just dropped it on the equator of Mars and not up to the ice caps? Surely if you're going to look for life on Mars, drop it on one of the ice caps, because that's where the life's going to be.
I tell you what, one of the things that I've always had a problem with the rovers is the atmosphere of Mars. When you're up there, it's not red. When you know, and it's not red. If you were stood on Mars, I don't know from my own personal thing, but if you stood on Mars, it's not red. I've watched and listened to lots of whistleblower stuff, and Wayne knows I delve right into this stuff, and I mean proper delve into it, and I'll listen to all the people that you're not supposed to listen to, and this, that, and the other, and all of them who've said about places on Mars, you know, etc., etc. I said it again. Secret bases, all that sort of stuff. They've all said there is no red atmosphere. The dust is red, but the atmosphere itself isn't red. And then NASA, after that became public knowledge, NASA turned around and said, yeah, we added a red filter just to make it look more atmospheric. Why? Why would you do that? That's bollocks. You shouldn't do that at all. It's misleading.
I mean, I've seen some of the comments come out there. I personally think human beings have been to the moon. Maybe not necessarily in 1969, but I think we have been there. The rumour is that there was Apollo missions of the Apollo missions stopped after Apollo 17. There was at least 3 more after that, but they won't tell you exactly what those missions were. All you've got is hearsay on social media over what the missions were doing, and a lot of the finger pointing is at trips up to the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
Photos have been released of buildings on the dark side of the moon, whether they're ours or whether they're another being's buildings. Something is up there. There has been lights recorded being emitted from craters within the moon. So, and some of them have been on live streams.
I knew that was Rachel. I knew that was Rachel who said that. I know that straight away. I was like, that's got to be Rachel. It is Rachel.
No one would have believed.
Yeah, exactly.
Richard Burton just suddenly walked in.
Your microphone's gone a bit weird.
Who's that? Mine?
Yeah.
Was it because I was sounding like Richard Burton?
It's.
Oh, sorry.
It has, hasn't it? It's gone crispy.
It's gone crackly.
Crispy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're knocking one off.
Is it?
Hello and welcome to the Spooky Laurie Show. Say again? Speak.
Seriously?
Yeah, it is.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What? Is it better or worse?
No, it's crackling. Like, in all seriousness, it is crackling like mad.
Hang on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a slight technical.
Hear me now?
Ah, there you go.
That's better.
Was it the speaker?
What's it like now?
Ooh,
Hey?
Let's just turn you down a minute. Yeah, that was clear. That was clear. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
Hang on.
It is on the moon.
And
And
good old technology. Hang on.
That's what's always got me talking. I just look at everybody. Hey, Rita, everybody in the chat room, and as Robert says, a computer chip the size of a house in those days sent the rocket to the moon. But when you look at the technology that they had and the megabytes, the bits of power that they had, the Nokia 3330, that's got more power in it than they had to stick the rocket up there. You know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. Ground control to Major Wayne.
Right, something went wrong with my Bluetooth.
Yeah, you're frozen as well, mate.
Hang on. Be back in a second.
Okay. Ah, there you are.
There he is. There he is.
I don't know what's going on with my speaker though.
Have the Bobbermans got to you?
I'm not getting anything out of my speaker.
Oh dear,
It's completely gone plonky.
And I bet you I know who's just said that as well. Used to take 3 days to download a song. I bet I know who said that.
No.
Yeah. Rachel.
It's gone.
Yeah. It did. I mean, when you
my speaker's playing up, so I'm now really having to really listen hard to hear what you're saying.
Have you got any headphones you can plug in?
No. I don't know where I've put mine.
It's a pity you don't live closer because I'll give you a headset. Anyway, yeah. What was I going to say? You look at the technology now and you look at the technology back then, and you've got all this arsing around about us. Oh, we're not going to the moon. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. If we could land somebody up there with the technology of a bloody calculator and the tech that we've got now that we've had come from our friends in different galaxies and from ships, etc., etc., etc. I said it again. For God's sake, I've got to stop saying that. How can we not send people to the moon or to Mars when we've already got that technology?
They fit in my phone.
Do you know, Viv, are you all right there, love? You know, are you going to join in at all? Or are you just like...
Sorry, I'm just like monitoring the chat and just, sending little emojis and things like that. I think that the moon, the governments have got this monopoly on the moon because look what the Chinese have done already.
What happened to their rover?
Well, what about the structures that were built on the moon and things like that?
That's what I'm talking about. Because the last flyby video stated that there were structures thousands of years old and some had been bombed and blasted to flatten it to make it look like there was never any structures there. And there were people talking all about that, and then all of a sudden that disappeared off the internet.
Yeah.
Any trace of it, like us when Wayne and I saw that thing about the Chinese rover, and it had seen these structures, and we saw the damn pictures, didn't we?
Yep.
We saw the photos of the remains of these structures on the moon. Some were intact, some weren't, some had been bombed, you know, and then all of a sudden, gone, wiped off the internet.
The thing is, as well, is like with Eric's comment, he says, yeah, exactly, we haven't gone back to the moon in 50 years. There is the rumour that the reason why they haven't gone back to the moon.
We were told not.
And that's because they know what's already there.
Mm.
And they were told not to come back.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, you've got all the, again, whistleblowers that have said we've got Stargate technology, and we've got bases on on the moon, on Mars, Saturn. I think it's Saturn, and I think it's Jupiter, but way under the ground. And they've got the technology just to walk through it and zap, they're there.
Yeah.
Exactly, and like we've been saying for, blimey, I'm going back probably a couple of years, you know, we keep saying it time and time again, that on Earth, we had a huge leap from one species to an extinction event to another species. There is no reason why we can't say that on another planet, on another side of the universe, life did not start 5,000 years before ours. That instantly makes them 5,000 years more advanced than us. Mm-hmm. And if you look at our own history, how our technology has advanced in the last 100, 150, 200 years, that would put them so far ahead of us in technology that there is no
Have
reason
we?
why they wouldn't be able to get from point A to point B in a matter of minutes.
But have we advanced? Because as a human being, species of human beings, we have forgotten. For example, what I'm trying to say is like the pyramids.
Yeah.
How were the pyramids built? That is such a big conundrum. We're trying to put all these different theories forward, but it was most probably something so simple that was taught to the humans at the time. Now it's forgotten because we're trying to move on, but by moving on, we're in effect really moving backwards.
We're going backwards. I mean, we haven't really tried to do anything of that size since the pyramids, have we? The only thing now that would rival that is going to be this new project that they've started building in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You know, to build a structure that they're building, or they've even started building it now. They've just started putting the foundations down, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's the engineering side of it. That's what I mean, not necessarily the size.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but what I'm saying is nothing since the pyramids has been built to that scale. And like you say, the forgotten technology is there. We've gone backwards, but in other aspects of our technologies, we have advanced. So, you know, who's to say that in, I don't know, 200 years' time or even less, we may discover how they built the pyramids and we end up building them ourselves.
But AI, I mean, we're letting AI rule us to a certain degree. For example, I heard that Wimbledon are going to have AI as their commentators on their website and other things that they're doing. How can that be moving forward with technology? For us as a species, that's moving backwards, isn't it? Surely.
It would be, but a way of looking at it would be, do we need pyramids? Because we've forgotten what the pyramids were originally for. I mean, obviously, an Earth battery is probably the most likely source, because obviously the pyramids have been found all over the world.
Yeah.
And like the mercury liquid in the pyramids, you know, that would be part of a component of the Earth batteries, which is what Tesla was trying to release at the hotel. And at first it was just from a small point A to small point B. And then eventually, if that experiment worked, it would be a worldwide thing. And if you've got all these pyramids out there, it's going to be the powers that be that doesn't want free energy to be just given out willy-nilly.
Of course they don't. We've got 0 point modules, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
No,
so it wouldn't have been forgotten accidentally. We didn't just forget about them. They've just been shelved. I think the real truth behind how the pyramids was built is out there. It's just that we're not allowed to see it.
But it's not just that. It's like the AI. Why would a human being want artificial intelligence to think for me?
I think that's sheer laziness.
That's what's coming in next.
Yeah.
And
we've got complacent over the years, and we've got lazy. And I think the best way I can describe it is look at the film WALL-E. Pixar's WALL-E.
Yeah.
You know, we've
Well, they're massive and float around in
chairs. Yeah, we've absolutely annihilated the planet, and we've had no choice but to leave Earth and go and sit up in space until it's time to come back. WALL-E is there to tidy up, and if he finds a plant, he's to send an alert off, and they'll all start coming back. But then when you look at them, they're all vastly overweight. They're all sitting on these hoverboards like Roman gods, and eating crap food and everything else. And that's exactly what we've become. We've become exactly like that. You know, we can't be bothered to walk half a mile up to the shop. We've got to hire one of these bloody e-scooters.
So
because we can't be bothered to walk.
Do you think this is the start of us annihilating our own planet like our previous generations have done on the moon?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're doing, because we go from one extreme to another. We think one thing's a good idea, And it gets to a point where we've gone, shit, we've gone too far with this. We better reverse what we've done.
Yeah.
And you've got that point where you can't go any further. And
think
AI
we're
is a
right
prime example. And we said it, I think, last week or the week before. You've got to have a cut-off point with AI.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is by making sure there is a program within the AI that only, the perimeters have got to be set.
Yeah.
A computer can only do what it's programmed to do, which means that AI would have to be programmed to only be able to do certain things. And if you allow it to have free will,
Yep.
that's
Bad.
where you're going to get the problem, because it will want to sustain its own life. It will want to carry on living. And that's when last week I mentioned about the book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Mhm.
Simply because that is a prime example of what artificial intelligence would do if it became self-aware and wanted to continue its existence. So how do we combat that? And the only way of doing that is making sure the perimeters are all set in place right from the word go.
I
Or-
think personally, there has been different versions of us for thousands of years, and I think the same thing has happened again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And this is to start the begin. If they do not curb this AI, I think if we're not already branching out to other planets and living on there, I think this AI is going to be the downfall for everybody. I literally think we've reached a tipping point, not just with AI, but with pollution, with everything. And the governments know this. They know this, and this is, as you've said in the chat room and everything, and as we've said lots of times before, they've got the cures for most diseases. They've got the cures for cancer. They've got the cures for free energy. They've got the cures. They've got free energy. They've got 0 point modules. They've got all this technology that have been given to them by our brothers from other planets and stuff. But because you cannot, once you cure somebody of cancer, that's it. They're cured, but that pharmaceutical company is not going to make any more money. So they would rather, like myself, I've had cancer since 2011 or 2007. I can't remember. 8 operations, 2 lots of chemo, and I'm only just properly in remission now. So the fact that they can't, if they give me a pill like 2011, oh, cured. Now they've made all that money from me over the years, from the NHS, thousands of pounds to keep my cancer at bay, not to get rid of it. That is morally wrong, not just for me, but for every single person in the world. Any disease that they've actually got the cure for, they'd rather just do prevention rather than cure, because they make more money.
Well, yeah, it's like the dandelion, the humble dandelion. How many of us as kids were told, don't smell a dandelion, you'll wet the bed?
I was told not to pick them.
Yeah.
I take dandelion root extract because it kills cancer.
Yeah. They said, don't touch the sap because that's poisonous. Don't smell it because you'll wet the bed. You were deterred from touching dandelions. Then you got Roundup, the weed killer that kills dandelions, and they literally force it down your neck. That Roundup gets rid of dandelions. Even on the adverts, it's a little dandelion, and along comes Roundup, boom, and it shrivels up and dies. Why? Because Roundup is owned by the biggest pharmaceutical company that provides drugs that actually helps you get rid of certain ailments through dandelions, either the root, the flowers, the leaves. The dandelion is good for you, full stop, and yet the pharmaceutical companies will lose too much money if everybody started picking free flowers. Could that also be one of the reasons why the government made it law against the law to pick wildflowers?
Wild garlic, that's another thing. It's in abundance everywhere. Very good for you.
Yep.
Pick it.
So, it's a lot of the things, the knowledge is there, but it's the powers that be are literally pushing it to one side and making us forget, like the Smithsonian has been doing.
Can I just say I don't wet the bed? I piss in the bin, but I don't wet the bed.
Mark, can you answer it?
I'm seeing you on Friday.
Mark, I'll have to answer another question next. It will be, do you get out of the bath to have a pee?
Actually, I shower. Because of Damien and stuff, I shower. I don't bath. If I'm in the shower and I'm on my own and I'm just finishing the shower and I'm like, do you know what? I need a pee. I will suddenly look thoughtful for about 30 seconds. And I just give it the old wash it back underneath the shower and go, I'm done. Get out the shower, clean the shower. I do not, however, poop in the shower.
No. Our cats do. Our cats are forever having a dump in the bathtub.
Yeah, if she gets a
Pain in
chance,
the bum.
she'll go and crap in it.
My cat lays in the bathtub to cool down in this hot weather because it's nice and cold.
Yeah.
But when you go to use the shower, you see all these black hairs where he's been laying. It's like, thanks, John.
Yeah. Still have to rinse the bath down first.
Eric, if you're going to go out in your backyard and eat all your dandelions, may I suggest that you use the roots, boil them, and put them in a salad? Don't just go and eat them, you nutter. God.
Yeah, if you boil them up and add some honey to it, that's because obviously honey is also proper pure honey, not processed honey.
Dandelion leaves are good in salad.
Yeah.
Wash them and put them in your salad.
Before I forget, Thunberg, what's that daft teenager, the eco warrior, Thunberg, Greta Thunberg?
Greta.
Yeah, 5 years ago, she said that the planet was going to end today. Today.
Oh, we've still got a couple of hours.
Yeah, she said it was going to end today, and it's. I noticed she drives about in a very nice car.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, does she?
She likes eating plastic wrapped food on trains as well.
I'm sorry. I understand why you're doing this stuff, but like, did you never get grounded or have your ass smacked from your dad? Jesus.
She was paid by Soros, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah,
a lot of her stuff has been funded by George Soros.
It's again another one that started out with good intentions, but I think has sold out.
Yep.
You know, and again, you guys must have seen it in the paranormal world. There's a lot of people who start off with good intentions and then they sell out.
Yeah.
Because
which time zone is she in? That's a great question. Because so in an hour, so she's only got an hour left for the end of the world.
Yeah, she's an hour ahead of us. So yeah. I tell you what. I mean, I'll be off to bed in a bit because I've got to be up early for work. But if I'm still awake at midnight, I will record a video and I'll put it up on Facebook and go, still here.
Wait till 5 past. No, you only have to wait till 11 because if she's an hour ahead of us, you've only got to wait till 11 and then do the video going, funny that, Greta, I'm still here.
Yeah.
But again, it's like a lot of things. Everybody, they turn around and say, we're killing the planet. Now, someone posted a video on TikTok earlier on, and I watched it, and I thought, do you know what? This bloke is spot on. And he was going on about, he's Australian, and he was saying about in Australia, and they were going on about climate change and the fact that the CO2 and that. And he turned around and he said, the funny thing is, CO2 is the main source of food for trees and plants.
That's right.
Now, he said the amount of CO2 that a tree takes in per year, times that by the amount of those particular trees there are in Australia alone, far outweighs the amount of CO2 we produce.
Yeah.
So therefore, the amount of trees we've got is actually better for the environment and not worse, which we are being made out to believe that we're creating more CO2 than we're actually getting rid of. And then he turned around and he said, and that's without mangroves. Mangroves actually take in 50 times more CO2 than a normal tree. He said, that's without all the other plant life.
There's a big company, and I know they've got a big processing plant over here in England, in the north of England, that imports the cut timbers from, I believe from America, to burn over here for power. There was a big documentary about, but the amount of trees that they are cutting down, and they're going to other countries as well because they want all this timber to burn to power. It's just ridiculous.
And it's
I can let
all
you into
about
an insight about power stations. I won't say which one. I was security at a power station for a while, and they have biodomes, and they're supposed to be coming over from coal and natural fuel over to this biofuel. Now, biofuels are supposed to be for the burners for this. They're supposed to be made out of peanut husks, and they have their own train line that comes in with all this stuff. 3/4 of it, yeah, peanut husks. But they have carriages or trucks that are covered, and you cannot see what the stuff is underneath there. But that stuff goes to the one burner that's not currently a bio one. Now they all say, "Oh, it's all been changed over. It's all this and it's all that." So why have you got trucks coming in with what does look like wood and coal underneath? If it's all eco-friendly, why? I can't say the name of the place, as I say.
Yeah.
To work there, but
it's all covered because that's the stuff the government want to hide.
It's all bollocks and covered up.
But the thing is that and when you look at the Amazon rainforest, and they've got so many football pitches worth of trees being cut down on a daily basis, you know, now they've sort of raised more of the awareness. It started to slow down, but as it was saying there, you know, there is no climate change. I was told by a science teacher and geography teacher that, and this was probably going back about 5 or 6 years, that climate change doesn't exist. They just want you to change your way of being.
It's an interesting one.
You know, because of all the chemicals that we use. But climate change itself has just been a natural process that the Earth has gone through for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah,
and that's the ice age and the greenhouse age.
But we still have that. We still have the ice, and the ice is now melting. It's a natural process that the Earth goes through, and it does kill off certain species as part of the natural order.
Natural process. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing with the tree thing is you have these natural wildfires, and I think some of the Amazon rainforest was burnt down.
Yes.
Not by human hand, but by nature. And it's happening all over the place.
Canada. I've heard rumours down the rabbit hole that the Canadian one was a misfire of a weapons system up a mountain.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that?
Who's going to cover it up?
Hey, would you say that?
But for Canada, that's bad. That's pretty bad.
It apparently did the weapons station. I don't know whether it was one on the moon, whether it was in our atmosphere, what. But it was a secret weapon system that we've got that was given to us with technology from elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it was put up there, and they were testing it, and it completely misfired and hit that part of Canada, and it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem is somewhere like, I mean, could it have been caused by someone discarding a cigarette? I was going to volunteer to do the old clear old mine trails in British Columbia. And when I looked into it, they said, you're not allowed to smoke anywhere in British Columbia.
No.
And I'm like, well, I won't be doing that then.
They have these designated smoking areas as well. So you can smoke. Well, I know in Oregon, you can smoke. And even if you smoke outside, if you throw a butt on the floor or even out of a window, it's like, no, you could go to prison for that. You've got to carry your own ashtrays.
Yeah.
And put them out in your ashtrays.
Yeah, they were giving disposable ashtrays out in Colchester City Centre a few years back, and they were quite quirky little gadgets. But you've got the typical, oh, why should I do that? I've been throwing them on the floor for God knows how many years. You know, and then you get, there's a guy on TikTok, he really cheeses me off because he goes round and he gets people off of these fines in Manchester. The company 3G have been employed by the council to give out £120 fines if they drop cigarette butts or litter on the floor. And this bloke then turns around and says, just walk away. There's nothing they can do. And they follow this guy. And the guy then turns around and he says, all right, then, so you're going to keep pestering him. So if he goes back and picks that cigarette butt up and puts it in the bin, are you still going to give him the fine? And they went, well, no, because he's picked it up. He said, right, go back and pick it up then. It stops them from earning 120 odd pound. I think they said out of the £120 fine, the council got about 30 of it and the private company got the rest. So it was just a big money-making scheme.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is just if the council was to turn around and say, right, we'll make sure there's plenty of cigarette bins dotted about, you've got plenty of places to put the cigarette out. You know, but they don't. And I think this is where private firms sort of tend to take over. And this is why the likes of energy companies, they'll always be around because they don't want you getting free energy. Because they'd go down the pan. If they weren't able to generate electricity and sell it to you, they wouldn't have anything, would they?
So here's a question. Are these big energy companies the ones that are covering up the alien interaction that's been...
Oh, all these heads...
The energy companies.
When you look at the Bobbermans, and this is what we've said on the show so many times, the likes, especially our Bobberman, most of them have got they've either got shares or a high up job, or their partner or somebody in their family has a high up job or shares in the energy companies, the pharmaceutical companies, the water companies, etc., etc. Fuck me, I've got to stop saying that. But they've all got shares or jobs in these places, so they're all complicit. They're all to do with the cover up. Like when we had the energy crisis, and then all of a sudden, buy electric cars, and all that nonsense came out, and the cost of making an electric car, you know, for the earth and for the people is horrendous. You know, and then our electric went up. Oh, why did that go up? It's rubbish. It's all fixed. All pre-done, pre-chosen.
The energy prices went up so that the people that were in power of us got more in profits.
Yeah, and that's all it was about.
I mean, even when you look at the president of the EU, her husband was boss of one of the pharmaceutical companies. So he got a big bonus when it came to the end of the financial year.
I normally have those in the morning when I wake up.
Wait,
and then
I've got a really serious question, because I remember, I'm just going to take it off the subject for a minute, but I remember growing up in the 80s with a certain musical with a king, a woman called Anna, and lots of little kids.
Yeah. Mr. Brinner.
And he used to say, etc., etc., etc.
The bald
He had
guy.
a bald head.
Fuck you and fuck you. How did he used to do it? Etc., etc., etc. That was it. Your Brinner.
But the thing is, right, you're saying about these battery cars. I saw a video this morning where there is 10,000 electric cars sitting in fields in China, just being left to rot. They've all been registered. They've all got number plates on them, and yet they're just sitting there.
Yeah, a lot have been buried. Oh,
and it's crazy.
What's the build up in America? The weapons, the army, and all the maneuvers and the tanks and everything.
I just think they're doing training. That's just the bloody idiots going, oh my god, no, they're taking over.
Oh, I don't think it's an attack or anything. I do think that with the police,
they're just doing different maneuvers. It's like our military. I mean, we live right next to Colchester, and Colchester is a huge garrison town. We've got I can't remember what it's, the 16th Air Assault Brigade here. You know, we've got paratroopers here. They do training here. We have RAF Woodbridge. We have the Apache helicopters flying over. We're on the flight path for any flypast that they do over Buckingham Palace. So we've got military aircraft coming over here on a regular basis.
We have a lot of American air bases here where I am.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot, and I mean a lot.
There's a reason why I asked.
There's been a lot of movement in the skies, and they're all American planes. These are not our stuff. It's all American. They're all doing something.
We've had it here as well.
I used to, I can go back about 25, 30 years. And I used to drive up into Cambridgeshire. Used to go to Mildenhall and Lake and Heath on a regular basis for their air shows and everything else. And then when I started working, obviously I joined the Royal Air Force, so I was stationed at Honington and various places in the east of England, and we always had planes going off on sorties for doing training and things like that. The Americans were constantly in the air.
Yeah.
Every time, even when I was doing delivery driving in a van, and I had to go to Turner's of Soham, the big lorry warehouse delivery company.
Yeah, I know that.
Used to take a load of fruit up to Turner's, and you'd constantly see the big American transporter aircraft, the Galaxy.
Oh, it goes.
Ghost. Oh,
he's
gone.
Oh, he's come back again.
Forwards. And it was crazy. You'd see them all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, we tend to it was all sort of they'd take off and they'd go off over to the North Sea, and they would do training runs there unless they were in Wales, and they'd use the Welsh Mountains for low-level fly training.
Here's a question. You know the sonic boom thing?
Yeah.
What is the law with the sonic boom, like during daytime hours? Is there are they told not to do it and
I think it's
fly
9
below
PM.
us?
I think it's 9 p.m. They're not allowed to use afterburners or sonic boom.
Well, they're doing that all the time.
Unless in an emergency.
Right, the reason I asked about it is because I've had lots of people tagging me and stuff on things to do with the American training. I thought it was training in conjunction with the local police. Now, my thing is Wayne's ex-military, he's ex-RAF. Yeah. I'm ex-light infantry army. And when you go on exercise, you go on exercise, and it's a set place with everybody coming in, and the area is cordoned off, and all that stuff. But the thing I've noticed with the American stuff, it's not in a set place. It's not one place. It's almost every single state had all this stuff going off at the same time.
27 states.
Yeah, and as Viv said, it was going on over here, and it was going on over here at the same time because we had the twin rotor blades.
Ospreys.
Yeah,
that's it. Ospreys. We've had the Ospreys going over here. We've had the Chinooks, and we've had some of the Hornets.
Yeah, the Royal Air Force has Ospreys anyway.
And the Typhoons.
But the thing is that we have to have training sorties. We have to test our military alertness and our awareness. The problem we don't
do it with the whole country. That's what I'm saying.
What we do,
not
but
all
we just do it. No, we do, but we do it in different areas. We don't do it to the extent that the Americans have done because their force is so much bigger than ours.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is how come all this training has suddenly started? That's what I'm trying to get at. I think that the training is all being because it's NATO forces, and I think there is something coming.
It's testing the alertness. I mean, we've got Harwich here. And we get a lot of the Dutch armed forces come through Harwich to go on military exercises with the British Army.
Preparation.
And you see it all come through. And it is just testing military awareness. And when you've got a group like NATO, you need to make sure that every military component from each different country is going to be compatible with each other. The last thing you want is for British armed forces to be paired with a team from a country that the brigade is not able to speak English. Communication barrier is going to cause a problem. So you need to gel as a group to be able to work as one unit rather than two separate units. And with the Americans, obviously you've got the likes of the it's not Home Guard, is it?
Navy SEALs and all that sort of stuff.
No, you've got they're like what our TA is.
Yeah, the Home Guard.
Is it? It is Home Guard.
Home Guard,
yeah.
You know, you've got their regulars, and then you've got their version of the TAs, and that they've got to be put on military alertness. And I think with the stuff that's been going on over eastwards, they're having to test their military awareness, and we know for a fact that a lot of the countries aren't capable of doing it. For donkey's years, we always used to say the Americans were the best armed forces in the world, but the British Marines and the British Army have proved them wrong on a number of occasions recently.
So the SAS and the SBS and a few other things as well.
Yeah, so it's it's taught them a few lessons, and I've spoken with a few army officers from the USAF, and they've got nothing but respect for our armed forces because they know that we are severely depleted, we're very low in numbers, and yet we still carry on regardless. And they're sort of calling it very similar to the RAF had during World War II. We're severely outnumbered, and yet we still managed to stand our ground and stop the Luftwaffe dropping their bombs and winning the Battle of Britain.
But regardless of all of that, what I'm trying to get at was they're over here doing this sonic boom thing. They're flying very low during daylight hours and scaring the life out of just normal citizens going about their normal day. That I think is that's a bit naughty.
I know here they are, and they used to. I don't know whether they have to anymore, whether they changed the rules or anything. But they used to have to notify residents of the areas where these aircraft were going to be flying.
They don't.
And they used to let everybody
residential areas. Seriously.
Yeah, they used to here. We used to get emails from the council or letters from the council saying that the garrison are going to be on exercises over whatever range, and there will be Chinook helicopters flying over. Now we don't get told anything.
No.
They've just stopped doing that, and they just fly them over, and it will be all hours of the day, night. You obviously Chinook stands out a mile. You can tell the old whoop whoop of the blades. And we've been sitting here in the kitchen. We've been passing the time away, having a cigarette, watching TikTok videos, and then all of a sudden you'd hear in the distance, and we'd go and stand at the door, and of course pitch black, you wouldn't see him apart from the red and the green light of coming over. But you just stand there and watch these two lights flying over, and then straight over towards the training grounds.
So here's another question for you, but both of you actually. So the when people claim they hear the sound of trumpets, and it's increasing, do you think this is a ploy by the governments or military actually doing it, or is it other worlds trying to communicate and warn us? Or is it our governments trying to put the fear of God into us yet again?
I've seen some of those videos and I've heard some of those things. Funny enough, we did a show all about that. There's a few going on with lights that look like spotlights in the sky being moved.
Yes.
Flashed along with the trumpets. I don't think it's... See, I have to be careful because... Us on the show, we do take apart religion, but we do analyze it in a scientific way, and we do think there were gods, but the gods of old,
not what we think we are.
No, they're from other planets elsewhere, way more technologically advanced than us. So I think they were real. I think they still are real, but they're not what we think they are. I think the stuff we see in the sky is could be some sort of joint thing between them and our Bobberments. It could be a new weapon being devised, a new thing being devised. It may be things from other planets. I do not think it is biblical as a lot of these religious, and I'm sorry to anybody who is religious, but a lot of the religious nuts going, oh, it's the horns of Jericho and blah. No, stop it. I think there is a logical reason for it, but I don't think it's... I don't think it's got a straightforward explanation. It could be HAARP, it could be from elsewhere, or it could be a joint thing between elsewhere and HAARP. But
Have you heard them? Have you heard them for yourself?
I've heard them. Yeah.
I've heard them. Have you, Wayne?
Yeah, I've heard them. Where was I? Chroma, in that area there.
I've heard
in the
them outside my
area
back
of the
door.
Wash.
They're weird.
But
Yeah.
I've also watched obviously videos from different places all over the world where they claim to have heard these noises. And I think the problem is because a lot of people are describing them as, was it the Horns of Jericho? Straight away being called the Horns of Jericho is given it a biblical name. So of course it gets put down as, oh, could this be God warning us and all of this? So it then sort of snowballs.
Yeah.
And like we said about the disinformation thing, you know, Chinese whispers and this disinformation, you say one thing,
China we've got to look out for more than Russia.
the next person says another thing, the next person says another thing, but it's slightly changed until you get way down the line to, say, 30 people.
It's not religious.
And instead of it being one thing, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
And then it sticks. And could it just be a natural thing like I can't remember who it was that said it, the tectonic plates. Eric. You know, the Earth in places is colliding together rather than coming apart.
Well, there's a new continent being done in Africa, isn't there?
Yeah. So could this be something to do with that? We know sound waves travel, and depending on where the sound is and how loud the sound is, it can travel for quite a distance. So it's a case of sitting down and actually looking into it deeply and taking a right approach to actually see what conclusion we'd come up with. And I think at the moment, it's just everybody keeps going, oh, look, I've videoed this, it's Horns of Jericho. And everybody goes, oh, it's God doing this. And you're like, oh, piss off. And just you want to ignore it.
I'll be saying,
And
I don't know that song. What number did it reach in the charts?
The thing is, I think, because I'm gonna call time in a minute, but I do, unless you guys want to carry on. But I do think that next week we should talk about that. But I think talk about that in conjunction with the bangs and sonic booms that have been heard under the ground in America, that when you map them form a tunnel network. So I think we'll talk about that in conjunction with that.
All fits in nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that next week. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about that and etc. etc.
I mean, I will be honest. But the only sonic booms I ever hear is my house after we've had a curry.
Yeah.
No.
Or when you were at a Paracon and somebody and his mate are shouting, you know.
That was terrible at Parafest, but that was so funny at the same time. And if you ever need positive energy to help spirit to come forward, the amount of laughing that we came out with that night, I reckon after I left, because I left about an hour and a half early, I reckon after I left, it must have kicked off big time because the amount of energy that was being given out that night.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And I don't think I've laughed so much. I was in tears most of the night.
You're probably in tears because you needed to change your underwear and you realised how crispy they were by the end of the night.
It wasn't me that was doing it, though. That's the thing. It was somebody else. Hey?
It was earlier.
Ladies' farts smell the worst.
Yeah, it was you earlier. And your mate and me.
During the day, yes. Me and Martin were trumping quite a bit, but it weren't too bad. But in the evening, it was Lee that was the culprit with his curry sauce and mushy peas. Bad
and
combination.
On that note, paranormal farts. Yes, paranormal farts. Next week. We'll be back next week. Definitely.
Monday,
9:00.
Oh.
Monday, 9:00. Wayne fell over.
I had an earthquake.
And we'll be back talking about all sorts. As you've noticed, for those of you who've not used to the Dark Mirror show, we don't have a set thing. We'll just talk about what's happened in the week. We regularly, Wayne and I, send each other videos all the time. Like, have a look at this, have a look at this, have a look at that. and then we'll talk about it on air, and then the subject will go boing over there, and we'll talk about that, and then it'll come back to the subject, and it'll go, oh look, cat's bottom, boom, we're over there talking about that, and that's what makes the show. But everything that we've ever spoken about, everything that we've ever talked about to do with UFOs and disclosure and conspiracies and all this sort of stuff is happened or is happening, and it's like, don't you? So, ladies, don't fart, they poof. Tell my missus that. Anyway,
Yeah, I was going to say Ellen doesn't do that. Ellen's definitely very loud
Ghost
and can be
farts.
violent, just like mine.
we're in the, what's that? Stay safe. Oh, hang on. Let's put that in there. Stay safe. We're in a rush job for Armageddon. It's man and woman rushing towards it, but for sure something big is going to happen. I think there is something going on, but don't know what it is, but I think we'll find out soon. And I definitely think keep your eyes to the skies. And if you see
The
anything,
apple pies.
yes, if you see anything, be sure to send it to myself or Wayne or Viv. Just let us know what you see and what your theories are, and join us in the chat every week and come and talk to us. So this is the first one on this network and going out on YouTube. Love it. And Wayne, you can say goodbye, Wayne. Say goodbye. Go on.
Bye, Wayne.
Bye, Wayne.
We'll see you next week. Anybody want to plug anything or say anything before we go?
Spook and Ori.
Oh, there is Truth Beyond Paranormal Live this weekend at Saturday.
There you go.
Ooh.
When is this?
Live from a 500-year-old mill down in Aylesbury.
Nice.
What time?
Usually about 9 o'clock, 9:30 on the Truth Beyond Paranormal group.
There you go. And you, Viv, when's your next thing?
I'm having a rest this weekend. I still haven't gotten over the trip from Transylvania.
Don't take that stuff. LSD's not good for you.
So yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
work's been manic. So I'm going to have a do nothing weekend. But I'll be back with Dan on Tuesday night, and we will be going out at some point. We will be investigating again, doing some crazy things with that crazy man.
He
Who's
should
that?
be back with us next week as well.
Yeah, he's on date night tonight with the missus.
Yeah, he said date night, no touching. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. But so, I'll be fixing my motorbike. So I'm going to see Rachel Friday. Come home, and I've got to strip my bike down and put it all back together again. So
Yeah, I think I'm mainly this week. I'm just sorting my house out and getting back onto my laptop and continuing with my latest Spooking Ori
Yeah.
because it's overdue.
But it's cooking along nicely.
Yeah, it is, because so far Mark has managed to buy the railway station he wanted.
me,
Yeah, you have brought the railway station you wanted because you came. What was it?
I
You
came.
were one of 3 winners of the lottery.
Oh,
Oh, in the
dude,
book.
that's like in real life.
The thing is Mark has forgotten that he is the main character in my latest
Yeah,
book.
I do keep forgetting that. Yeah.
And so far, Mark has brought a railway station
I'm going to do
from
Monopoly
a disused railway line, and he won the lottery and managed to buy this railway station. Only it has some rather weird things going on in it.
Exciting.
He won't like the end, though.
Yes.
Right. On that note, we'll see you all next week. Hopefully, Dan will be back with us. Josh over in America, Mr. Down the Rabbit Hole, might be with us. If not, he'll be back with us in 4 weeks, I think it is, and he'll be a regular on the show. And he has some very good insights there. Viv likes him as well, don't you, Viv?
Mr. Eye Candy.
Yes. So, from myself, Yul Brynner, and Viv and Wayne, thank you very much for joining us in the chat room. It's been brilliant listening to you all, talking to you all, and interacting with you all. And we will see you next week. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
No, I'm straight, but thank you.